our former coach of the Crimson Tide, and also was a coach at Texas A&M. So a lot of great things with as far as things that kind of connect him to both schools as we get ready for this matchup coming up this weekend. But we welcome in Coach Gene Stallings. Coach, how are you?
Listen, Jay, I'm fine, and what a joy it is to talk to you and Antonio. So you got to pause.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, my friend?
Good.
How's your daughter? Is everything good?
Well, she's going to have a hip replacement, and I'm in the lobby of the hospital as we speak. There's little analysis, so we just have to work around it the best we can. But I think she's going to be fine.
I got to ask you about the 1968 Cotton Bowl. Coach Bryant picks you up after the game, and you can just tell in the look on his face that he's so happy for you. And one of his pupils had a chance to go and coach at Texas A&M, and come away with a big victory over him. Talk about that moment for you. What was your feelings, and did you ever expect Coach Bryant to pick you up?
Well, first of all, he just showed the grace that he has. When the game was over, I told the manager not to let anybody in, and I'm doing a press conference. In those days, you did the press conference in the locker room because you didn't have the media room, and I told the manager not to let anybody in, and somebody knocks on the door. It's Coach Bryant. Well, he's not going to keep Coach Bryant out. And Coach Bryant comes in the room, and I'm talking to the media, and I said, you got to excuse me just a minute. And I looked at Coach Bryant and said, you looking for me? And he said, no, I've seen enough of you. Said, I want to see you players. And I got them together, and he congratulated A&M for beating Alabama. He said Alabama had the best football team. A&M outplayed us, and I just want to congratulate you. So, yeah, it was a great period of time for Texas A&M because it's been a while since A&M had won the championship. We did get to go to the Cotton Bowl.
Hey, Coach, there's been a lot of talk about Tua and this high-powered Alabama offense. You're coaching your 92 defense. How do you game plan him?
Well, first of all, we'd put some pressure on the quarterback. I wouldn't let him sit back and have all day to throw the football. That's what amazes me in watching the college game, well, in the pro game also. Nobody's really blitzes a quarterback because they're afraid to play man-to-man. They don't have Antonio Langham that knows how to play man-to-man, and you're not afraid to blitz. If you blitz and you can't play man-to-man and the guy beats you, it's a long gainer. So I would definitely put pressure on the quarterback. I wouldn't let him sit back and they can always go to the intended receiver or the alternate receiver or give him enough time he can lay the ball off to a back. I would not give him that time to do that.
Coach, what's the excitement level at Texas A&M right now with Jimbo Fisher? I mean, they played Clemson, which your grandson plays for, played them a really good game. The number 2 team still came out on top. But how impressed have you been so far with the job that he's done?
Well, first of all, they played better than Clemson. Clemson won the game, but they beat them in every statistic you could beat them at. Length of time they had the ball, they passed for the football, they ran. It was not a good game for Clemson, even though Clemson won the game. They've had some gimme games. Now this is not a gimme game. I just hope that Texas A&M can play them close. Now, if I was going to give A&M a little advice, I would say don't score early on Alabama. And we saw what happened last week when Ole Miss scored in a hurry, then they had 61 unanswered points. So I wouldn't be in a hurry to score against Alabama.
Coach, this is Lars Anderson here. What is your favorite Jay Barker story, either on the field or off the field? And it even can be one in which perhaps doesn't make Jay look so great.
Well, you can't hardly speak about Jay Barker without making him look great. First of all, his entire career at Alabama, I think he only lost a couple of games. And what a joy it was to coach Jay. Now, Jay was not the best passing quarterback I ever had, but he handled the team better than anybody I ever had. He knew that he didn't have to win the game on every play by himself. He threw the ball to the right receiver, the right time, the right way, had good running backs, and he was just an outstanding quarterback as far as handling the football team. And I can't imagine anybody having a better win-loss record over the 3-year period than Jay had.
Yeah, you always kept comparing me to those NFL quarterbacks. That guy could hit that. I'm like, he plays in the NFL. He's 3-time All-Pro.
Yeah, that's right. And
good times.
And Jay, if Jay were playing for me right now, he would be the same type quarterback. He could control the tempo of the game, handle the offense, and our philosophy was that we need to keep the ball 8 plays or more 65% of the time, and we didn't score, kick it to score, wouldn't move it out far enough that they had to go 80 yards with it, and Jay was a master at that.
Coach, when you look at this, I guess, matchup and you think about Coach Saban as far as just the success that he's had and 5 championships in 9 years, the type of players that he's been able to bring into the program, Texas A&M traveling into Tuscaloosa in that environment, as a coach looking at a team like this that did give Clemson some issues, what kind of message do you send to your team throughout the week in practice or in meetings as far as getting them mentally and emotionally ready for a big matchup like this?
Now, if I was at A&M or at Alabama?
At Alabama, if you're Nick Saban, not to get complacent. What kind of message do you send?
If I was Alabama, I'd just play my game. I'd say everybody that they play, if they could beat Alabama, they pretty well made their season. If I were Alabama, I would not worry about Texas A&M one bit. I'd worry about the way that my team performed. That's the way I coached. I didn't ever worry about the opponent. I wanted my team to play at a high level. I wanted to win because my players played better than your players, not because my scheme is better than your scheme. So if I'm coaching at Alabama, I'll just keep them doing exactly what they're doing, trying to stay healthy. They say they have a problem with having 2 quarterbacks. That's not a problem. Let me tell you what a problem is. You're coaching the quarterbacks, and you've got 2 that neither one of them are good enough to win. Now you've got a problem. You've got 2, and both of them are capable of winning. That's a pleasure.
Great point.
Hey, Coach, real quick, we're going to venture away from the game a little bit. As a head coach, how do you feel nowadays about this recruiting situation where they're recruiting kids in the 8th and 9th grade and they're placing 3, 4, and 5 stars on them? At coaching high school football, we have some kids like that, and they seem to can't handle it when they get these stars placed upon them. How do you feel about that?
I'm against all of that. I never did recruit a kid until he was a senior in high school. A lot can happen. He can be a good player as a junior and then sort of fizzle as a senior, or he could be an average junior and really become an outstanding player as a senior. I think we put way too much pressure on the player way too early. That's just a personal opinion. I think just moving up the signing date is a mistake myself. There's plenty of time. Be able to recruit them in February, March is plenty early as far as I'm concerned. Having an early signing date, I think, is a mistake.
Coach, always great having you on. Thanks for coming on with us and being able to catch up with you. We miss you. And, man, I was hoping to see you. You were in Tuscaloosa recently, and I know you were there, then pretty much out very quickly. Were you not trying to get back to A&M for that Clemson game?
I'm going to be back for the A&M Alabama game. I'm going in Friday night to see that game because there's a lot at stake, and obviously I'm a former coach at both of these places, so I'll have a real joy about watching the game. I just hope the best football team wins.
Coach, thank you so much. Great to hear from you.
Coach, good to talk to you. I look forward to seeing you Saturday. I'll be in Tuscaloosa, so I'll look for you Saturday.
Okay. I'll be in one of the boxes. Good to talk to you guys. Always enjoy.